That just woke everyone up. So. All right, so I guess it's top of the morning to everyone and happy St. Patty's Day. It's March 17th, so I'm going to call this meeting to order. I'm going to start off with the land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen is located on the Treaty 20 Mississauga territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa Nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nations, which includes Curve Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Rama, Beausoleil, and Georgina Island First Nations. The Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen respectfully acknowledges that the Williams Treaties First Nations are the stewards and caretakers of the lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. I'm now going to move into a moment of silent reflection for council and staff to quietly reflect on our duty to the community that we represent. Thank you. All right, then I'll ask everyone to make sure your cell phones are off or placed on vibrate so it doesn't disturb the meeting. And I'll remind council of declaration of pecuniary interest. If it arises, you can declare it then. We have minutes here from the March 3rd meeting. I'll look for a motion to receive them if everything's in order. Moved by Councillor Clements, second by Deputy Mayor Webb. All in favor, and that's carried. All right, then we have one delegation today, so we're going to move into delegations, and we have Chris Kowalik here and Cindy King from the city. Welcomes.
Thank you, Mayor. With council, appreciate the opportunity to update on social services today. As the mayor mentioned, here with Cindy King, our Children's Services Manager, to provide a high-level overview of as an update to the social services activities. We'll be going through Ontario Works, housing, homelessness, children's services, which obviously Cindy is the expert on for this, and myself in community development. We'll do our best to answer questions from the other three areas. We may have to get back to you on some stuff, depending on how detailed we want to go. But Cindy and I are going to tag team on this. So I'm going to turn it over to her to talk about Ontario Works.
Thank you. So as you can see from the slides, social assistance rates remain low. Cost of living continues to increase. Caseload sizes are approximately 115 files per case manager. Case managers support service users with life stabilization and pre-employment. In 2025, we referred 20.9% of our adult service users to the Employment Ontario programs. Approximately 53% of adults receiving assistance declare mental health or addictions as a challenge to seeking employment. We've noticed there aren't enough supports available in the community to support that need. As a result, we contract with Community Counseling and Resource Center, as well as Canadian Mental Health Association to help. We're also connected to and working directly with the Brock Clinic to support individuals without doctors to apply for ODSP. Approximately 14% of our current caseload is working, with an average monthly earnings being between $700 and $800. And then you can see here the chart of just that gradual increase of caseloads. Oops. And then a breakdown of clients for each township. And again, they're stable but gradually increasing.
Thanks, Cindy. For housing services, As a system manager for the city and county, we work through, provide, our community housing providers. We have 15 of those. We manage the centralized wait list. We oversee supportive housing, municipal rent supplements, affordable housing programs and development, and the 10-year housing and homelessness plan. With those 15 housing providers offering rent geared to income and affordable housing for low-income households, Peterborough Housing Corporation being the primary supplier of those. Working, one of the big things, and Cindy mentioned those through our Ontario Works, through the life stabilization and eviction prevention work that our office does, offering rent supplements to prevent people from evictions and entering the homelessness system. The way the housing staff operate is within the housing continuum. For them, it's this section of from transitional housing, supportive housing, rent geared to income, affordable rental. So that's the, as you can imagine, our house. In a moment, I'll get to the homelessness folks, but this is where our housing staff work in trying to increase the supply of this kind of housing across that continuum. I mentioned the 10-year housing and homelessness plan, which will involve everything from homelessness over to affordable rentals. Our staff are working on that 10-year housing and homelessness plan right now for 2026 to 2036, and they will be reaching out to each of the municipalities, city, county, and townships to receive input as part of the consultation process of that, developing that new plan. They work under the Housing Services Act. As the housing service manager, we are required and maintain 1,569 rent geared to income units. A lot of that is partnering, as I mentioned, with Peterborough Housing Corporation, who have over 4,000 residents that they manage. One of the big obstacles or challenges that they're working through right now is the mortgages on a lot of these properties are coming due. So they end up owning them, and they don't working on new agreements with them, new funding agreements, so that those affordable housing units remain in the system and aren't upgraded or become, the rent changing. So that's something that they're working on right now, or we're negotiating those new agreements. This is just a list of the housing units and the different locations of them throughout the county. For our homelessness staff, as I mentioned, on the continuum, they're working, people who are homeless up to the transitional housing area. They're responsible for options for people experiencing homelessness. The numbers on this slide, tell a bit of the story. 937 individuals experienced homelessness for at least one day between November 2024 to November 2025. 460 of those were experiencing chronic homelessness. That's almost half. And chronic homelessness is defined as someone who's been homeless 6 months over the past 12 months. If you're homeless for 12 months in serious trouble and dealing with a lot of challenges if homeless for more than 6 months in a particular year. 396 individuals became homeless for the first time. 269 individuals moved from homelessness to housing. It's a positive point. Tragically, 196 individuals who were homeless identified as Indigenous, certainly well overrepresented at 29%. This gives you a bit of background of the gender, housing types, and age and demographics of people who are experiencing homelessness. You may notice in some of this that the percentages are a little bit off, but so people can fall into multiple categories depending on their age. Between November and November 2024, 2025, there were 158 issuances of our housing stability fund to almost 1,000 unique individuals. The homelessness system works to prevent and divert people from experiencing homelessness, wanting to keep people out of the shelters, using our housing stability fund to provide flexibility and individualized responses to what people are dealing with. Our shelter system has 40 beds at Brock Mission, 12 at Cameron House, 30 at the Yes Shelter for Youth and Families, and 45 beds at the Trinity Center. Turn it back over to Cindy now to go over children's services.
So I know that everybody's always wondering about the $10 a day or the Seawell program. We've had a slight extension from it ending in just a couple of days, March 31st to December 31st of this year. There's a lot of advocacy happening right now, but we're really hoping that that program extends longer, as we know that that's supported families with increased spaces as well as a lower cost to care. We've had 2 programs open, which sounds like just a little bit, but we have 2 more programs increasing spaces to around 130 for this year, 2026. We're hoping to continue to increase in 2027, but we can't do anything more with increasing spaces or making plans for that until we have a little bit more understanding about CWELC and funding for that. We're currently working on our accuracy within our wait list. It looks like our wait list spaces are really high at almost 4,000 children. However, we know that there are duplicates. We're working with our provider that hosts our system to be able to help us to take out some duplicates. We know that families are really looking for spaces, so sometimes they end up on the wait list more than once, or they're sitting on a wait list and no longer need care. That being said, sometimes we have families that are on the wait list that are expecting and not needing a space for a couple of years, with maternity leave being so long. So it does look like we have a ton of folks sitting on the wait list. However, there are a little bit of inaccuracies we're working with. We've had a change to our funding model in 2025, which means that our childcare centers are funded according to what the cost of care is. So it means that they have a bit of a more stable funding model and increases that are regular to their employee salaries. We have local priority funding. Oopsie, sorry. Thank you for that. We have local priorities funding that is separate from the cost-based funding that supports those children from ages 6 to 12, and usually before and after school programs and programs that operate like right now during March break or breaks from school. That also supports special needs resourcing and capacity building. And as I said, hopefully our funding model will continue past December 31st, but that's what we know as of right now, that it is up until December 31st, 2026. Under Children's Services, we also have early on programs, and we're hopeful for some changes to their funding as well. There's been some work done. Ministries currently working on stabilizing funding for those programs, as they haven't had an increase since 2019, and we know that the cost to run programs is higher.
Thanks, Cindy. And finally, on the community development side, prior to the pandemic, some of you may remember that we did have a case manager working in each municipality. We had one in Havelock working sometime out of the medical center and the library and the Belmont Hall. We were all over the place in Havelock-Belmont-Methuen, but When the pandemic hit, obviously all the staff were drawn back in, and we changed our model over that period of time where we didn't have specializations, whether it be around rural case managers, or we used to have case managers that dealt primarily with people with addictions, homeless, mental health issues. We had various specializations, which we got away from. We've moved back to that. And as part of that work, established 9 locations across the county as hubs. Now, those hubs are bookable by any agency that may wish to deliver services rurally. So out of the community care office, we rent one of their rooms there, as well as up in Apsley. But we have 9 locations across the county that any agency, and locally, CMHA has used the office. The one here in Havelock is the most popular that's been used and booked by other agencies. And also hosts a drop-in center. We have 3 locations where once a week, anybody could drop in, doesn't have to be asking about the programs we deliver. Could be any program. Community Care does a good job promoting that as well. And here in Havelock, we do see a lot of people dropping in, not necessarily talking about, say, Ontario Works or Children's Services, any of the things that we've talked about today. They could be talking about applications by seniors, could be talking about domestic abuse, could be talking about any human service. So it's promoted that way that anybody could come in to talk to our staff who are there during those drop-in hours. With the specialization, we have 5 townships covered. I know it says Cavan-Monaghan is pending, but that's no longer the case. We do have a staff member working out of the old Millbrook School now. But here in HBN, Tammy Ruffo, she couldn't make it here today. She's on holidays this week, but she's here at least every week meeting with clients, and she sees the benefit of having that presence over at Community Care and meeting with clients locally who may have transportation challenges or feel more comfortable meeting locally. In community development, we also have age-friendly Peterborough. 4 months ago, we hired Sarah Bass as our new age-friendly coordinator. She interacts with community care and libraries and the various senior organizations across the county. And I also include the community safety and well-being plan here, realizing prior to the new ones being made by the city and then the one by the county with all the townships, it was something I was working on jointly, so I included there, but certainly knowing that city and county are making separate plans. So city and I are happy to answer any questions council may have of us.
Thank you. And it's good to hear that you are coming out this way. It does make it a lot easier for a resident that can't get into the city. So thank you for that. The one number that kind of jumped out at me was the Ontario Works. When you look at per capita, we have a pretty big number in there. Is there any reasoning for it, or is it just that much worse out here, or needing help?
To the mayor, Havelock-Belmont-Methuen has unfortunately traditionally had a higher number. Overall county numbers have traditionally, been between 16 and 19% of the overall caseload. You would have seen also that bar chart, and it's a different trend where county client numbers are increasing slightly and city numbers are declining very slightly over the last 3 or 4 years, which hadn't been the case ever. Tried to figure out what that reasoning was, couldn't pinpoint it. But as far as locally, HBM has traditionally had a little bit higher numbers comparable per capita.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Deputy Mayor Webb.
Yeah, to you, Mr. Mayor, just playing off that. One thing that comes up in our community around this is the 2 buildings that we have, they're Victoria Gardens and the Parkview Apartments, is people are concerned about the number of people that aren't from Havelock. A lot of people from Peterborough kind of with no connections to our community. when I look at the numbers here, I see we have 38 places here in Havelock, yet on the Ontario Works, we have 117. So to me, those numbers indicate that we have more than enough space here to deal with the numbers that we have here. So I'm just wondering in terms of like, I bring this up every time I don't know whether it's you or social services comes here. Are they looking at ways to keep these residents in their home areas? In terms of if somebody, or if somebody in Peterborough goes on social assistance, do they try to keep them in Peterborough? Because what I'm hearing is a lot of these Peterborough people are being shipped out to neighboring communities like us, which to me, when you get into the numbers, that's the next question I want to ask. So to your point, those numbers, are they people that are from Havelock, or are these people that have been shipped out from Peterborough that are now living in Havelock, and that's why our numbers are inflated? And how do you discern that?
Through the mayor, a lot of questions there.
Yeah.
I'll try to unpack that. There's no, concerted effort to move people from one community to another. It is by choice. As an aside, people always think that, homelessness folks are being shipped to Peterborough, and that's why our numbers are growing, which isn't the case. People move freely and can't stop people from moving from one community or another, whether they're in need or whether they're, moving here from Toronto and buying a house. So that sort of migration of people, there's no effort done locally to move people. It's more if there's a space available, say that it comes up in Havelock and they're on a wait list with Peterborough Housing, they may be offered that space. If they wish to move to Havelock and to get more affordable rent, because it's affordable, then they're able to do that.
I understand the economics of it.
Yeah.
Which makes sense in terms of you guys are going to have to pay more to put these people up in Peterborough than you are here. But for communities like ourselves, the end game doesn't end up well, right? Because we end up with kind of these people that are in our community with no real connection to our community. Our residents, sometimes the incidents we had over here in the one apartment building, that's what kind of really freaked out people here, was because that person had no connection to this area, right? So now they've burned down a building and people are saying, what were they even doing here in the first place? That's kind of the issues we're trying to keep from happening in the future. So
the folks that are, say, on our caseload that live here, they're housed. They may be precariously housed. They may be very close to homelessness, but they're housed. And the idea that situation wouldn't be disrupted unless they, took the initiative and were on the wait list and wanted to move from their current situation. We wouldn't look at those clients here and say, there's space open in Havelock, do you want it? That wouldn't work that way.
I understand that. I understand you're trying to do your best. I'm not trying to imply that you guys are doing this on purpose or anything like that, but I'm just saying sometimes when you try to do good things, they're kind of negative consequences to what you're doing, right? I think that's kind of what we're seeing here as a council in terms of over here. And we're just trying to work with that in terms of all we're saying is, to me, if we've got enough local people to put over here in these buildings, we would much rather keep the Havelock residents here than bring people from other communities, as I said, that have no connection or ties to our community, right? Because to me, that's not helping them at all either. These people obviously need help, right? More than just Ontario Works, they need support services. And if they don't have any relatives, connections in this community, I don't think that really helps them either. I think it puts them in a bigger hole.
If you'd like, I can get more clarity from our housing manager as to the dynamic of how spaces are filled, if you'd like.
Oh, I made my point. I think like you guys are working on this. As I said, Chris, the last time you were here, we brought this up. So just to see that you guys are continue to work towards this, right? I know you're trying your best, but as I said, we've had a few incidents here and we're trying to keep those from happening again. So thank you very much, Chris.
Okay, Councillor Clement, and then I'll go through with it.
Hi, Chris. We met before about community care. Two things. So community care, by the way, that's a great hub. I've been there when people have been in there. That's a good thing. It used to be Victoria Place was designated as a seniors. Is that designation still there, or is there no designation on any of the buildings here?
The housing I don't think it's designated as that. It's more the majority of people are seniors and they're accommodating an older population. Is that what it says on that?
The senior singles for both.
Right,
But there's people over there that aren't seniors.
right.
Weren't.
I think that it's just the majority, maybe like that. I think this is how our housing staff provided this. I've had questions about that because a lot of them do have seniors associated with them in the county. But it is seniors and singles, so I don't think there's any recruitment of older adults or younger folks.
Well, it
Particularly.
used to be one building was seniors on Victoria. The other one was just, I guess, Geared Income.
Yeah, it was, what, years ago, it was made into seniors, like they upped it, started like at say 50, and then every year they upped it until it got to 60. I think it's 60 now or something like that. I'm not sure what the age is, but that's what it was supposed to be at the one building. But anyways, that's something to look into.
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay, Councilor Doherty and then Councilor.
Through you, Chair. Follow up on the question of the seniors. Somebody was here maybe last year. I don't know, your department or some other one. We asked the same question, and I believe they said it was not designated as senior anymore. Would that not reflect in your reports, or?
It should, and I'll have to get back to you. I don't have that detail on the housing. I wish I knew. I wish I could answer your question, but I'm going to have to get back to you on how that is, if it is designated or not, and how Peterborough Housing handles.
Well, you do the placement, so would you not have to know to do the placement, or you don't do the placement? Sorry.
We do some of it. I don't do any of it. So I don't even know how that dynamic works through. So I'm at a loss. So all I can do is get back to your clerk so that she can get you the appropriate information.
Yeah. Follow up, if I may, Mr. Mayor. The 462 individuals experiencing chronic homeless, what is that number comparison year over year, like 24, 25? Like, there's no comparison here. Are we going up? Are we going down? Are we making headway? And of those 462, how many are regulars? Because I read all the time is, oh no, they want to stay on as unhoused. So how long do they stay on there? And why do we keep counting somebody that does not want any of the other services that you're providing?
I have, as I'm working through our community safety and well-being plan, that's one of the things I'm getting from our homelessness staff is over time, what did it look like 4 years ago, our chronic homelessness issue, so that I don't have that number. That was the historic number. My understanding anecdotally is that it is increasing the number of people. But I will, once I get that data from them, I will share that with the clerk along with the seniors housing question that was answered, that was asked. In regards to the services, folks that are in these Rock Mission, at Trinity Center, they're provided with the opportunity to receive services, and folks work with people, whether they're dealing with most are dealing, if you're in chronic homelessness, have multiple challenges, whether it be addictions or mental health or family issues, or it's not people falling on hard times for the first time. There's many programs and services that are out there. The supply of housing for people to move, like the modular units on Wolf Street, as transitional housing. People are moving from a homelessness situation into better housing situation, access to services that Elizabeth Fry Society provides there, so that there's more intensive work done. Those facilities that type of housing is in very short supply. That's one of the huge gaps that most communities in Canada are experiencing. People like CMHA and Forecast, they have this type of housing that they supply with people who are dealing with addictions and mental health, and they try to give supports as well. But the housing population we offer the services. I wouldn't go so far as think people are wanting to be in these situations. It's not enjoyable. The shelter system is not a favorable place to be.
I'm not sure how you can ascertain numbers and not know how many of them are chronic, because you're starting from a base of, say, if there's 50. You're starting from a base of 50 that do not want to be home. They want to remain where they are. So how do we deal with that? And I see constantly that we're providing more opportunities for living quarters for the homeless, for the unhoused, sorry. But the numbers don't seem to change much. So, and you say, well, we're kind of level. We can't provide housing all the time and then the numbers not decrease unless we're getting more people on it on a regular basis. So I just find the numbers a little confusing. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Flyberg.
I think I have a good question for you.
Yeah.
It's the housing continuum, which is really cool. I mean, I like that because you go to emergency shelter and then you can go to traditional housing and then geared to income up, up, up. So do you have initiatives for people to go up, 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 or do they just hit the geared to income and then they're there forever? I'm just kind of curious on that because there is a lot of people that do need the help. So is there a time frame when they get in there, like whether it be a year or 2 years, or do you know what I mean? And they have to show whether they are working or if they're not working or whatever, just something.
Through the mayor, the rent geared to income is in short supply as well.
Yeah.
There's a very long wait list to get those units, so they're always full. And you know, as I mentioned, the transitional and supportive housing, enormous gap there as well. This is where municipalities, Peterborough included, are criticized, say, for the increase in beds that we did at Trinity Center for 45 more beds. The investments we need to put into are more in transitional and supportive housing. But then we have all this homelessness interface that we're trying to give people a place versus tenting. And but the rent geared to income, the majority of those people are there for a significant amount of time because they're very low income, either working minimum wage jobs. It could be seniors who are on fixed income without a pension. So the variety of people that are in geared to income housing right now is quite diverse, but it's always full.
So then there's really no plans on getting them to either improve, to move on so that you could have that place for someone else. Is that what you're saying?
There is that opportunity. The demand and the need is there so high for people who are on Ontario Works or unemployed, working minimum wage. There are services, but if you're in rent geared to income housing, and that's the type of housing you need, you're in a very fortunate situation.
Okay.
They're income tested, so that these folks are not sitting there, middle class individuals. They're income tested, so that they remain qualified for that.
All right, so then they can live there forever. If they get into these places and they can just stay where they are as long as they make so much income and then. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
I do, but
So is there no plan in order
use
to?
of that is maybe middle story.
Yeah, the abuse, yeah, I understand that. And it's not everybody, and I do get that. I do get the seniors, I do get people with disabilities. But I don't, like, for me, if I was in this type of a system, it's blocked. It stops you from moving ahead. So I was just curious on what do you have for them to move ahead?
Through the mayor, the next step being affordable housing is a bit of is quite misleading, because what is affordable is not affordable for people of very low income. And the supply of that housing is very low as well. So it is the development. So the development on Monaghan Road was a huge accomplishment to open up spaces both for supportive housing, low rent geared to income, and then there is some market. I believe there's some market rent in there also.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Chris and Cindy, for your presentation today. And yeah, some of them other questions could be answered. Either send them to the clerk, or for your next report here, maybe we can have some of those numbers available anyway, so to help understand it. So thank you very much for coming out today. Motion to receive the delegation. Moved by Councillor Doherty, second by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's carried. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move into the public meeting for zoning bylaw amendment. We'll look for a motion to go into that public meeting. Moved by Councillor Clement, second by Councillor Doherty. All in favor? And that's carried. So we have three zoning bylaw amendments, and I'll read the rules here. This is a statutory meeting held under Section 39 of the Planning Act. Any person may attend the public meeting and or make verbal or written representation, either in support or in opposition to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment. Please keep your video off, microphone muted during the meeting until the chair invites comments regarding the planning matter. If a person or public body does not make oral submission at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen before the proposed zoning bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen to the Ontario Land Tribunal. If a person or public body does not make an oral submission at the public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen before the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is passed, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal. In the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to add the person or public body as a party. If you wish to be notified of the passing of the zoning bylaw amendment, you must make a written request to the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen. So our first zoning bylaw amendment here is Yvette and Blue from Cashabag Lake, and I'll turn it over to Botan, Alicia, and Scott, if you're online. Yeah.
Hi there. Thank you, Mayor Martin. Sorry, I don't have video at the moment, but if that could be if that function could be enabled, that would be much appreciated. But if not, I will just introduce the application to you. So thank you, and I'd like to wish, oh, sorry about that, just starting the video here. Thank you. So thank you, Mayor Martin, and through you, I'd like to wish council and members of the public in attendance a good morning. Today, I'll be presenting an application for zoning bylaw amendment for the property municipally known as 244 Cashabag Lake Water Access Only. The property is in the Methuen ward and identified as part of Lot 9, Concession 8, roll number 153101090091110. I would like to note that although the civic address is identified as 244 Cashabag Lake Water Access Only, the site does include a driveway which connects to Fire Route 93A, located on an adjacent property to the south. And as such, this site has also been referred to as 244 Fire Route 93A. So the purpose and effect of this application is to present for the consideration of members of the public and council a proposal to amend the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 1995-42 as amended to establish site-specific regulations that would permit the tear down and rebuild of a seasonal residential dwelling to a larger footprint located within the required setback from the high water mark of Cashebog Lake. The application will also facilitate the development of a new accessory structure to be used as a garage, as well as the installation of a septic system. The subject site has an approximate area of about 0.6 hectares or about 1.4 acres, and it includes approximately 44 meters of shoreline frontage on Cashebog Lake. The site is currently developed with a one-story seasonal residential dwelling with attached decks having a cumulative footprint of approximately 110 square meters or about 1,200 square feet. The closest point of the attached deck to the high water mark of Cashebog Lake is approximately 6.7 meters or 22 feet, while the closest point of the existing dwelling to the high water mark is approximately 11.9 meters or about 39 feet. The site is also developed with 4 accessory structures, including a one-story accessory building, multiple sheds, and a privy. The site is currently designated shoreland areas in the waterfront in the County of Peterborough official plan and shoreline in the Township's official plan. And the site is zoned the seasonal residential zone in the Township's zoning bylaw. The application before council this morning is a zoning bylaw amendment to rezone the subject site to a site-specific special district zone. The purpose of this application is to establish a reduced setback from the high watermark of Cashebog Lake, as well as a reduced front yard setback for the proposed dwelling, the attached deck and covered porch, as well as a reduced side yard setback pertaining to the proposed garage. The proposed dwelling will be located slightly to the south and east of the existing dwelling and have a footprint of approximately 239 square meters or about 2,600 square feet, inclusive of the attached deck and porch. The proposed dwelling will not be located any closer to the shoreline than the existing structure, and the nearest point of the proposed dwelling to the high water mark, measured from the attached deck, will be approximately 10.5 meters or 34 feet. The dwelling itself will be set back 15.4 meters or 50 and a half feet from the high water mark. The side yard setback from the western lot line will also be increased from what currently exists to become compliant with the zoning bylaw. The proposed garage will be located south of the dwelling, approximately 44.5 meters or 146 feet from the shoreline. The garage will include an upper storage loft that's not intended to be used as habitable space. The garage will have a footprint of approximately 91 square meters or about 980 square feet and will be set back from, set back approximately 6.1 meters or 20 feet from the western lot line. A new septic system is also proposed as part of the redevelopment and will be located south of the proposed garage. So upon completion of the redevelopment, the site will contain the new dwelling with an attached deck and covered porch, as well as the new detached garage, a new septic system, and the existing docks on Cashebog Lake. The enlarged dwelling is intended to accommodate all habitable space within a single principal structure, thereby eliminating the need for several smaller accessory structures which currently exist on the site. The subject site is characterized by significant topographical variations, including bedrock outcrops. And given these physical constraints, the proposed location of the dwelling, garage, and septic system represents a suitable area for development. The Crow Valley Conservation Authority was circulated on the application, and in correspondence provided to the township, the CVCA advised that they did not object the application from a natural hazards perspective and issued a permit in February 2026. In subsequent correspondence, the township issued to the township, the CVCA noted that they will require the permits to be amended to accurately reflect the location of the proposed septic system. It is our opinion that the proposal is consistent with the provincial planning statement, conforms to the applicable policies of the County of Peterborough and Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen official plans, and does not offend the general intent of the township zoning bylaw. Public notice was posted on the site and mailed to surrounding property owners in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act. It is my conclusion and recommendation that this application be approved, and I'd be happy to answer any questions from members of council or the public who are in attendance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Scott. So the next part of the process is I'll be asking 3 times if anybody's in opposition of the application, followed by 3 times anybody wishing to speak in favor of the application, where the applicant will have an opportunity to add to anything that was said today. So anyway, so I'll start off by first time, anybody wishing to speak in opposition of this application? Second time, anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Third time, anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, anybody wishing to speak in favor of this application? Does the applicant wish to add anything to this or?
Through you, Mayor Martin, my name is Holly Richards-Conley, and I am the agents for the Imblos. And nothing specific to add, but I'm here to answer any questions that council or anyone else may have.
Okay, thank you. All right, second time, anybody wishing to speak in favor? Third time, anybody wishing to speak in favor?
I'm Yvette Imblo. I can't turn my camera on.
Oh, okay.
But I'm in favor.
There. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to open it up to council. So Deputy Mayor Webb.
A lot of stipulations that need to be followed here, but everything's in order and no objections. So I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation.
Okay, so the recommendation is moved by the Deputy Mayor and seconded by Councillor Doherty. Any other questions with regard? Okay, all in favor of the motion, and that's carried. So, all right, so the next application here is Ilson, Dan Ilson. So I'll turn it back over to Foten. Dan? Got it, sorry.
Hello, my name is Nolan Atterbury from Foten, and I'm also requesting that my video could be turned on if possible. But in the meantime, I'll move forward with the presentation. So thank you, Mayor Martin, and through you, I'd like to wish councils and members of the public good morning. I will be presenting the zoning bylaw amendment application submitted for the property municipally known as 88 Cordova Lake Water Access Only in the Belmont Ward and identified as part of lot 26, concession 3, roll number 1531 010 006 46900 in the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen. The purpose and effect of this application is to present for the consideration of council an application to amend the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 1995-42 as amended to facilitate the expansion of an existing single detached vacation dwelling on the site. The subject property has an area of approximately 0.44 hectares or 1.1 acres with approximately 65.3 meters of frontage on Cordova Lake. The site is designated shoreland areas in the waterfront in the County of Peterborough Official Plan and shoreline in the Township Official Plan. It is zoned seasonal residential in the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen zoning bylaw. The site is currently developed with a 55.6 square meter single detached vacation dwelling with an attached screen porch, an attached covered deck, and an attached uncovered deck. The site is also developed with several accessory structures, including a one-story sleeping cabin, a boathouse, a shed, and a dock. Electrical utility wires transect the property to the west of the existing single detached vacation dwelling, while the remainder of the site is undeveloped. I will also note that the site features uneven topography, which slopes west to east towards Cordova Lake. The site increases in elevation to the rear of the vacation dwelling, featuring an approximately 2-meter high vertical rock face directly behind the existing dwelling. The existing vacation dwelling is currently set back 12.7 meters or 41.7 feet from the high water mark of Cordova Lake. The existing uncovered deck on the site is currently set back 9.3 meters or approximately 30.5 feet from the high water mark of Cordova Lake. The proposed additions to the vacation dwelling will maintain the existing front yard setback and high water mark setback applying to the existing dwelling, which is 12.7 meters. An attached landing is proposed to be set back 11.6 meters or 38 feet from the high water mark of Cordova Lake. While this proposed landing encroaches further into the high watermark setback than the existing vacation dwelling, it still maintains a greater setback than what is existing for the uncovered deck and other steps and landings used to access the existing dwelling, ensuring that no further reduction to the high watermark setback is proposed through this application. The application before council is a zoning bylaw amendment to rezone the site to a special district zone, which would permit a reduced setback to the high water mark and a reduced front yard setback for the proposed additions and attached landing. The application was circulated to internal staff and external commenting agencies for technical review. A slope stability inspection was prepared by Cambium Incorporated, dated January 9th, 2026, to assess the stability of the slope on site that extends west from the shoreline of Cordova Lake to the west of the existing vacation dwelling in support of the proposed additions. The slope stability inspection assessed that the existing structure is within the erosion hazard limit on the site. However, the site was confirmed to have negligible instability hazard, and the proposed additions would have no impact on the integrity of the slope and vice versa. A scoped environmental impact study was also completed for the proposed development by Cambium, dated January 9th, 2025, which confirms no negative impacts to the ecological function of the shoreline or natural heritage features are anticipated as a result of the proposed development. The Crow Valley Conservation Authority approved a permit for the proposed development on January 28th, 2026. It is our opinion that the proposal is consistent with the provincial planning statement, conforms to the applicable policies of the County of Peterborough and Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen official plans, and maintains the general intent of the township zoning bylaw. Public notice was posted on the site and mailed to surrounding property owners in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act. It is staff's conclusion recommendation that this application be approved, and I would be happy to answer any questions from council or members of the public. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Nolan. Okay, so I'm going to ask for the first time, for anybody wishing to speak in opposition of this application? Second time, anybody wishing to speak in opposition? And third time, anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Okay, is there anybody wishing to speak in favor of this application? I'm not sure if the applicant's on here. And wants to add anything? Second time, anybody wishing to speak in favor of the application? And third time, anybody wishing to speak in favor? Okay, I'm going to open up to council. What's your thoughts? Councilor Clement, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Martin. So my one concern is I see there's a new septic tank going in, our septic system. How far is it from the old one? I can't see it on this map. This map's just like, I can't read it. Sorry.
Okay. Nolan?
Through you, Mayor Martin, I can confirm that the septic system that is proposed on the site, or the septic tank that is set back 34.3 meters from the shoreline of Cordova Lake, which complies with zoning and other required parameters. And I do not have on our site plan the existing location of the septic. But perhaps perhaps I could provide more information following this.
Okay.
Just through you, Mayor. You just referenced it. Did you say is it a septic bed or is it a septic holding tank that's being put in?
Through Mr. Mayor, there is a proposed 22-meter squared raised septic field and a 36,000 liter septic tank proposed.
Septic system, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right then. Any other questions? Councilor Doherty, go ahead.
Through you, Chair. Good question. I didn't see on it, perhaps I missed it. Where is the parking spot if this is water access only?
So sorry, through the mayor, could you please repeat that question?
Yeah, it's water access only. So as part of that, there has to be a place to park. And I just wanted to know where that was. Is there a landing or what's there? Because it's one of the criteria when you go through the preconditions.
Thank you. And through the mayor, there is a existing dock and boathouse to provide water access to the site. And as for a parking spot for vehicles, I do not see one delineated on the site plan.
I follow up then. So that is not a condition then, and I'm confused.
Through the mayor, there's no requirement for parking or vehicular access on a water access only site.
So they don't have to have a parking spot on mainland somewhere that they're to access it. I think that's kind of, I always thought they had to have a spot somewhere.
What would it be? Sorry, I was just gonna say, would it be at the parking lot at the south entry, at the end of Fish Hatchery Road? Probably where they're parking. I don't know, because I know it looks like the property is at the south end of Cordova Lake, right? So
Yeah,
good question. So did they know?
okay.
Through you, Mayor, I think we have to establish, is a policy is or not? Because if it's not policy, I asked a redundant question, so I apologize, Gus.
My apologies to the mayor. I'll defer to Alicia Ackroyd for this question.
Thanks, Nolan. And through you, Mr. Mayor, thanks everyone. Nice to see everybody. Yeah, just to clarify, as part of this application, we don't have to look off-site for where the parking would be. It's the applicant's responsibility really to ensure that they have parking in a permitted way at either, a dock that's either going to be for where they would be launching otherwise. So on the site itself, there's no expectation for a parking space, obviously, because there's no access for the vehicle. Otherwise, in the various residential zones in the zoning bylaw, yes, you would expect that there would be a parking space on site, but as far as the way that we are zoning this property specifically, there's no requirement for us to ensure that they have that captured elsewhere, I guess.
Okay, I think, yeah, I thought there was a policy too. I don't know, Travis, do you know of any, like in the past, I've always thought there was that we had to have, sorry to put you on the spot, but.
Okay, so through you, Mr. Mayor, yeah, we have looked at that in the past. I'm not sure if it's written anywhere. If Alicia couldn't find it, and maybe there is no policy.
Okay.
But we have considered that in the past.
Okay, so it's just a consideration.
Well, further to that, through Mr. Mayor, just a question for Alicia. Is this something that she sees that other municipalities do in terms of requiring a parking spot? Like, just kind of what we're getting into to Councillor Doherty, I think, is we're giving okay to a site upgrade, yet we don't really have any idea where this person's going to be parking their car, which could lead to. It seems like we're giving approval, right, for something that they said could lead into problems in the future. So is this something that other municipalities kind of have gotten ahead of in terms of, oh, I see Trevor waving, so I'll let somebody answer. People are waving there.
Yeah, thank you very much. Through you, Mr. Mayor. In general, I'm aware that there are other municipalities that have, other waterfront access lots or island properties, of course, that require some sort of or expect some sort of vehicular access for, parking at a marina per se or another lot where they would again have that permitted access. There are parking lot zones or parking zones that other municipalities may apply to those areas as part of the actual zoning for the site itself. And that's part of the issue, I think, is because we're looking at the lands that we have available to zone, right? So that's why that is not necessarily part of the zoning bylaw amendment. And part of the issue with the application type for that is that there's no way to put conditions on a zoning bylaw amendment. So I can't say subject to this condition that you have a parking space elsewhere. But all that to say is it's something that we can certainly look into either from an OP policy perspective or a zoning bylaw perspective, if we're doing little updates, that kind of thing, where we say, it should be the policy of the township that we, look to establish parking elsewhere. part of the issue with this is that this is currently an existing developed property with the current seasonal dwelling. So making the addition onto it, I don't see that as worsening a situation or creating a new situation. The applicant could continue to visit this property as they do currently, and we don't necessarily know where they're parking. So I would just keep that in mind, but also, yes, we can absolutely look into it in the future.
Okay, so Trevor, did you have something to add to that, or is that, did that cover what you were gonna say?
Yes, please, through you, Mr. Mayor. I have answers to both of the previous questions. The parking is currently at the Cordova landing, and that's where the access is made to the cottage, just across the south end of Cordova Lake. And regarding the septic system, there is no existing septic system. It's on a vault toilet right now.
Okay. All right then, so, yeah, so it's an existing spot, and so it's not applicable right now,
No,
but,
understood, but just looking forward in terms of, I
Yeah.
understand there's a parking spot there now, but where we're getting into here is, I don't know if this property is on an island, but we've got ever more applications coming around our lakes in terms of people wanting to build on these lakes. For properties like this that are water access only, yes, we have parking lots there now, but just referencing the one on Mile of Memories that I know of, that one was filled up years ago, right? And that's why we have parking issues on Mile of Memories.
Yeah.
And all I'm trying to get ahead of here is, I realize at Cordova Lake now, there's probably enough parking. But if we give out 10 more, we do 10 more of these, right? And we give 10 more water accesses, are there gonna be enough parking spots, or are we gonna be into a situation where whether, we're making a parking lot or somebody?
Yeah.
Because we have to kind of, I think now we're okay because, as I said, there is a parking lot there and there's still space available. But as we go ahead with more of these applications, we're probably gonna run into an issue where,
Yeah.
where there's only 10 cars in the parking lot now, there could be 25 10 years from now. And what do we do then? So maybe moving forward, we need to look at something like that where there's a guarantee of parking, right? Or something like that. So we don't end up paying for it in the long run, because that's what'll happen is we'll end up putting the parking lot in.
so I think that's how we need to move forward. As far as this application, it's an existing property. But moving forward, we do need to clarify that, and if there is a possibility of coming up, we're gonna be redoing our zoning bylaw in the future here, but this needs to be looked at, and we do need to have something, because like the deputy mayor said, we've seen it before in other areas where all of a sudden there's no parking, but they've got properties, so we do need to address it, and that might be something separate from this application, but in the way they're tied together. So for today, we can look at this on its own, but in the future, we need to deal with that and see if we can come up with something that's going to work for future applications, so we don't get into a predicament. So that's just my suggestion. Go ahead, Councillor Doherty.
Through your chair, I'm confused. Is there a septic system on the property now? Or is there not?
No, there is not.
So then a new septic system is also proposed as part of the application. Would propose be the right word there? If it's nothing there now and we're going to put a new dwelling in, is it not subject to a septic tank approval?
Yes.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, that would be correct that a new septic system is proposed and it will be subject to septic review by the township.
That was the same question I was gonna ask.
Yeah, we worked this, so we're good. So I'll make a motion to move ahead.
So moved by Deputy Mayor Webb that we go with the recommendation. Second by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, and our next application here is for March. So I'll turn it back over to I have Scott. So go ahead, Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and yes, it's me again presenting this file. I do appreciate that. And through you, I just want to mention that just introduce the file. So the next file that I will be presenting today is a zoning bylaw amendment application submitted to the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen for the property described as part of Lot 24, Concession 9 in the Belmont Ward, and identified by assessment roll number 1531010 008 00130. The purpose and effect of this application is to present for the consideration of members of the public and council an application to amend the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw 1995-42 as amended to satisfy a condition of provisional consent imposed by the County of Peterborough Land Division Committee through consent application B2225. The subject site is located on the north side of County Road 47 and has an area of approximately 0.8 hectares or about 1.9 acres, with approximately 97 meters of frontage on the north side of County Road 47. The site is designated rural and cultural landscape in the County of Peterborough official plan and designated rural in the township's official plan. It is also zoned rural in the township's zoning bylaw. The site is currently undeveloped, and a wetland is present immediately east of the site. Rural and rural residential uses are present in the surrounding area, with single detached dwellings fronting along County Road 47. Larger rural parcels are also present in the surrounding area, particularly to the north of the site, and remain undeveloped. On July 10th, 2025, the County of Peterborough Land Division Committee granted provisional approval of consent application B2225 to establish one new lot for future rural residential use. The severed parcel has an area of approximately 0.4 hectares, or about 0.9 acres, and approximately 55 meters of frontage on County Road 47. As a condition of approval, the county required the rezoning of the severed parcel to the satisfaction of the township, as well as the submission of a site plan demonstrating that a suitable building envelope can be achieved, along with other conditions as outlined in the notice of decision. The application before council this morning is a zoning bylaw amendment to rezone the severed parcel to a site-specific special district zone and the environmental protection zone in order to satisfy the condition of provisional consent relating to the rezoning of the severed parcel. The proposed special district zone will recognize the approved lot frontage and area established through consent application B2225, ensuring that the lot maintains a sufficient area to accommodate an appropriate building envelope. The adjacent unevaluated wetland was also required to be assessed in order to determine the extent of the wetland and identify any buffer associated with it. The applicant retained a qualified ecologist to prepare a wetland boundary delineation and recommend an appropriate setback for future development in order to protect the wetland and maintain its long-term ecological function. The wetland boundary delineation prepared in support of the application identified the eastern lot line as the general wetland boundary and recommended a 15-meter setback to maintain an appropriate wetland buffer. As such, the proposed site-specific special district zone will establish a 15-meter side yard setback requirement from the eastern lot line in order to maintain this buffer and require that future development is located outside of the buffer area. This 15-meter setback recommendation is also consistent with comments received from the Crow Valley Conservation Authority. The 15-meter wetland buffer itself is proposed to be rezoned to the environmental protection zone to protect that area from development. In support of the zoning bylaw amendment application submitted to the township, the applicant also provided a site plan illustrating the proposed building envelope on the severed parcel. The site plan identifies an area of over 1,600 square meters, or about 17,000 square feet of buildable area that can be accommodated on the severed lot. This incorporates all required setbacks as well as the 15-meter wetland buffer. Township staff have reviewed the submission materials and are of the opinion that the subject site is of adequate size and configuration to accommodate potential future development. It is our opinion that the proposal is consistent with the provincial planning statement, conforms to the applicable policies of the County of Peterborough and Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen official plans, and does not offend the general intent of the township zoning bylaw. Public notice was posted on the site and mailed to surrounding property owners in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act. It is my conclusion and recommendation that this application be approved, and I would be happy to answer any questions from council or members of the public in attendance with respect to this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, so is there anybody wishing to speak in opposition of this application? Second time, anybody wishing to speak in opposition? And the third time, anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Hearing none, is there anybody wishing to speak in favor of this application? And I'm not sure if the applicant's on here. Second time, anybody wishing to speak in favor of the application? And third time, anybody wishing to speak in favor? All right, then I'll open it up to council. What's your thoughts here? Recommendations before you?
I'm just looking, sorry.
Okay. Councillor Doherty,
Make a motion to approve.
all right, so that's moved by Councillor Doherty, seconded by Councillor or Deputy Mayor Webb. Any other questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, that's the end of our zoning bylaw amendments. So a motion to move out of the public meeting back into the council meeting, moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Doherty, all in favor? And that's carried. Okay, we're back in and moving into planning reports. So Alicia, we have a report here with regards to County Road 30 and site plan control. Oh, Nolan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, the next file I'll be presenting is a report regarding a site plan agreement for the proposed self-storage facility at the property municipally known as 9351 County Road 30 in the Belmont Ward in the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen for the consideration of council. A minor variance application, A1424, was provisionally approved on October 15th, 2024, which had the effect of permitting a reduced minimum number of parking spaces for the proposed self-storage use to facilitate the development of a facility containing 9 self-storage buildings on the site. At the October 15th, 2024 council meeting, the minor variance was provisionally approved with the condition that the site plan control agreement be presented to council for approval. The proposed self-storage development is subject to site plan control in accordance with the Township Site Plan Control Bylaw 2009-42 and pursuant to Section 41 of the Planning Act. The Planning Act requires that a council that passes a site plan control bylaw under Section 41(2) shall delegate authority for the approval of site plan control to an authorized person. Township Council passed a bylaw in 2022 confirming that this authority would be delegated to the Chief Administrative Officer. As such, Council no longer has the authority to approve site plan control applications in the township. It is recommended that the site plan control agreement be presented to Council for information purposes to ensure transparency throughout the approvals process. The purpose of the site plan control application is to permit with conditions the development of a self-storage facility in accordance with the approved plans and drawings and in accordance with the terms of the site plan control agreement. A complete site plan control application was submitted on August 13th, 2024 by the applicant. Following approval of the minor variance application A1424 and multiple rounds of technical circulation and peer review, the following materials were considered through the preparation of a site plan control agreement. These materials included the Stormwater Management Report, engineering drawing set, a site entrance assessment, a hydrological assessment memo, and a geotechnical investigation report. The site plan control application submission was reviewed by the township's planning staff, fire department, and building department, as well as the County of Peterborough Engineering and Construction Division. The County of Peterborough Engineering and Construction Division conducted peer reviews of the site entrance assessment and stormwater management report between January 2024 and January 2026, confirming no further comments in January 2026. The County of Peterborough has also provided recommended conditions which have been incorporated into the site plan agreement. There are ongoing discussions with the applicant related to the phasing of the proposed development, which are anticipated to be captured in the terms of the final site plan agreement. A final draft of the site plan agreement will be prepared and reviewed by both the applicants and the township's legal counsels. Township staff are satisfied with the site plan control application following multiple rounds of technical circulation and peer review, and have prepared a draft site plan agreement to permit the proposed development in accordance with the approved plans and drawings and in accordance with the terms of the site plan agreement. Following Council's receipt of the information report regarding the site plan control application, Township staff anticipates supporting the final site plan control application for the approval of the Chief Administrative Officer, subject to the proposed conditions. It is my conclusion and recommendation that this report be received for council's consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions from council or members of the public. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I'll open up the council. Motion to receive moved by Deputy Mayor Webb. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Flagler is seconding that. Any questions? Go ahead.
So through your Mayor Martin, last time there was a lot of opposition, but everything has been met. Is what they're saying now, like everyone's.
Yeah, I guess site plan was the biggest part of it and but comfortable with it, so.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So.
All right.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so we have a mover and a seconder, all in favor? And that's carried. Okay, the next item is a merger agreement with Friends Backus and Tucker. Travis, go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So the merger agreement was a condition of consent application B2525 for a lot addition. The owners of the severed lands, Brian Backus and Bob Prinz, being 251 Mile of Memory Road. And the owner of the benefiting lands are John and Melissa Tucker, being 331 Mile of Memories Road. The merger agreement is the last item of satisfy the municipal conditions for consent B2525.
All right. Moving that?
Yes.
Okay, that's moved by Councillor Doherty and second by Deputy Mayor Webb. Any questions around the motion? All in favor? And that's carried. Thanks, Travis.
Thanks.
All right, moving into staff reports for information. The first item on here is the department update for the Parks and Rec. Second item here is the department update for the roads, public work. And the third item on here is the also ISD training update from our CAO. We attended. Is there any questions or comments around that? Okay, so I would look for a motion that we receive the information items. I'm going to speak to later on the also thing, but
Proceed.
okay, motion to receive moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Clement. All in favor? That's carried. All right, so staff reports for follow-up action. Drinking water. Here.
Good morning, Mayor Martin and members of the council. Purpose of this report is to ensure, as stated in Regulation 170-03, drinking water systems schedule 22-2, bracket 1, that this report be provided to members of council with respect to 2025 Havelock drinking water system annual report no later than March 31st, 2026. Recommendation. That 2025 Havelock drinking water system annual report will be received for information. And further, that staff are hereby directed to post a copy of the report on the township website, as well as provide notification to the village residents in the April utility bills.
All right. Motion to approve. Okay, moved by Council.
Receive, I guess it would be.
Yeah, move the recommendation and cover everything. Yeah. So so moved by Councillor Doherty, second by Councillor Clement. All in favor? And that's carried. All right, the next item here is the PAO with regards to 544 Peninsula Road. This was regards to
Motion.
Move it? Yeah. Okay, moved by Councillor Doherty, second by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's carried. Right, then. So we don't have any correspondence action items or information items. So I'm gonna move right into committee liaison report. And get that. County updates, did you have anything from the county to?
Just quickly, and our MPP Dave Smith announcing province is announcing the retroactive funding for the windstorm from 2 years ago, 3 years ago now. It's finally come out. We announced those numbers at last county meeting, and I believe our number, Mr. Mayor, was right around 79,000 HBM were received. And just so everybody knows, every township received a different amount, and basically the amounts you're given was based on how much each township submitted to the province in terms of their cleanup and costs like that had gone on during the windstorm. So the more you submitted to the government in terms of cleanup costs, there's a little that back. That's about it.
Great, thanks. Okay, thank you. All right, so as we move into, I have a few things on here this week, and the first is with regards to a letter that I received from Mark Lemieux. Mark's been involved with this rail since probably for 10 years now. I've known him as far as through email. I didn't meet him until last week. And we had a discussion. He's very involved and he's right into, how these things work. And even he's struggling with, how this presentation's been moving out, lack of information. We're all dealing with, we've all been to the meeting. We're trying to stay on top of this thing, but the information makes it really hard to support. So I've been following a lot of, there was a group down in Tamworth who is trying to support it in a roundabout way, but they were talking about high performance rail alternative. So Mark kind of talked about that in his letter with regards to, things like slowing it down to 200 kilometers an hour or below changes the whole dynamics of everything when it comes to crossings and things like that and invasion of our property. He makes it sound like it's even possible that it could stay within the existing corridor, which is something that I've always supported from the beginning. I'm totally for high frequency. I would love to see a train stop here like it used to in the old days. I think everybody would have an easier time with that. But with the things that they're bringing forward, it's so wishy-washy that it's, and I understand that they extended the timeline. They've extended it out to the end of April now. This morning, I see that the province is finally throwing some comments in there, which, I've been asking and we haven't been getting any provincial feelings on this. I spoke to our MP last week for about an hour on this, not just this, but with this here on how I'm struggling with it. And I think council's struggling with it too. I didn't want to speak for everyone here, but I think our community is really having a hard time with this. So talking to Mark and receiving another letter from him on Friday with regards to this high performance alternative. What he's saying is basically the plan that was there before that I was supporting is that's what high performance is. These trains were going to go fast enough. Like when they talk about high speed, even where there is high speed, some of the areas, if there's 200 kilometers of track, it might do high speed for 50 kilometers. The rest of it is down in the hundreds. It's not, they're not going to be flying through all of these places, but it's disrupting everything. So that plan, and I know the election that year, I was pretty confident because I was attending all the meetings it started with Dean Del Mastro, then it moved into Miriam Monsef, and then it was with Michelle. And, that plan was fully supported and would have benefited all of us along the route. For some reason, they jumped to high speed and it changed the dynamics of everything. So the new route that they keep talking about, which I struggle with even being feasible because of so many environmental things up there that I just don't see how it could ever happen when they talk about a north route. It's just going to mess our township up even more. So for today, I'm not sure how you want to move ahead here, but I think we need to put the message out that we're not supporting it as it is, and we need a lot more information. We can't, you can't support something that you don't know enough about. So we had that just now with zoning bylaws. So Deputy Mayor?
Through your comments, I'll suggest a motion then to we make a motion that given the plan that Alto has come out with and the plan that sits before us today, this council does not approve of the plan, does not see really many benefits, if any benefits. We see a lot of negatives in terms of property expropriation, transportation access with the cutting off of roads. I mean, we can get into the negatives. We could sit here for 30 minutes and listen to the negatives this project in terms of a high-speed rail, what it could bring to Havelock. I agree with where you're coming from. We've always been told, we were pitched for the better part of 10 years, right? This idea of high frequency rail that somehow during the COVID process has been flipped into high speed. Being that it is being proposed as a consultation process, I would like to give them the benefit of the doubt in that we're giving input. So my input to them, I think as well as yours, Mr. Mayor, has been go back to the high frequency. Everybody seemed to like that. I'm not holding my breath in terms of them actually coming around and changing their mind. It seems like they're well into this plan. But I think where we sit right now, as I said, for us to say that the plan we've seen right now, not for it. But as I said, the consultation process is in effect. They are supposed to come back with, I guess, adaptations or whatever they want to call them to, what they've heard from the public consultation. So for myself, at least, I would like to maybe hear that because as to your point, I think high frequency or something different from what they have could really benefit not just our community, but a lot of these rural communities in terms of helping them grow. High speed does nothing for that. So I guess the motion would be is we're not for high speed, but still open to, like I said, if they want to correct this and move back to a high frequency or something that's actually going to do something for people in our community, instead of just running a train through at 200 miles an hour with no stops. So to me, that's going to divide our community more than it's ever going to help grow our community. I hear them at all these presentations, they go into, like this and jobs and whatnot, but I think everybody here knows that our local plumbers or contractors aren't going to be getting jobs to do this multi-million-dollar project. This is going to go to the big boys in Ottawa, Toronto, or Peterborough. So, and that wasn't that clear, but I'm hoping that the wordsmith over there maybe work that into something.
Working on it.
Okay, Councilor Clement.
So through you, Mayor Martin, I back this entirely that I'd like to see our staff develop a letter, send out saying that I sent them up, I attended 2 meetings and I did send them a letter the other day asking them with all the forest fires going on, what do you do if a train's going through at whatever speed and you've got a forest fire and it's full? And they couldn't answer that. Environmentally, this just doesn't work. Emergency services, it doesn't work. Like I can't support it. I believe in development. I believe let's redevelop the existing what we have, but let's not ruin what we have. So I will second the motion to send a report.
Okay, all right. Bev?
Yes, I too am in agreement with that as well. I feel that this has actually been pushed to us. I'm not sure how far they are along with it, but I'm not for taking people's property or dividing our county. Like that just doesn't make any sense. So I too will be, I am for that. Thank you.
Okay. Jerry?
Through you, Mayor. All the points are good. What I have found when reading the emails that I've received, it's how the same situations are being asked about and no answers. And this started with our AMO meeting in Toronto in the middle of January. So I don't know how you could effectively approve or disapprove of it when you don't know. And the risk for the township. I mean, I don't know. I personally think our member of parliament should be here at least to take notes of what the feedback is. I know they have people there. They have those people with the laptops and are taking notes, but she's the one we're sent to Ottawa to act on our behalf. So I think she's remiss, if I may, not being critical, it's not being out, even if we have a joint meeting with another town, something. I mean, we want to get the message across is we need information and it's not forthcoming. And the big thing is they've extended it now a month, which will help, I guess. Okay.
Further to Councillor Doherty's comments, and maybe something I could add to the motion because it's something I thought about, but reaching out to our MP, I know we've asked her about helping set up another meeting in our community. But the one question that I have, and I don't think this is something to be answered by the Alto people, to be fair to them. How did this change from the presentation we got 10 years ago in terms of high frequency and all the discussions that were to high speed? Because, and I know Em is new in her position, but it's been a liberal government there for the better part of 12 years. So somebody in that government knows either who or what or how that decision was made. And that's for myself, I think, what I would like to know. Because you had an idea that was well received by most of these communities. You've gone back into a small room, flipped it, and you've come out and you've pretty much poked a bee's nest here. So everybody between Toronto and Ottawa is all up in arms over something. So I would like to know kind of the thought process behind, this change, because it makes no sense to, I think, any of us in this room. So that's what I would maybe like to add to that as well. I don't know if she can provide that answer, because as I said, she isn't just a new MP, so she's probably still meeting people. But if she can maybe ask some of her Liberal friends up there, if maybe they've heard something about the reason this decision was made. So,
Hey, Bob, and then Jerry.
Through you, Mayor Martin, further to Deputy Mayor Webb's comments, we certainly did ask that question in the letter that was written to MP Harrison. You will see there that it's clearly notes, whereas the Shining Waters High Frequency Plan introduced over a decade ago proposed to restore passenger rail service with a stop in Havelock, whereas the currently proposed Alto high-speed train project does not include a stop in Havelock-Belmont-Methuen. And it goes on to ask why it was changed. And that appears in the letter at least 2 times.
But sorry, but we received a response that didn't include an answer to that question.
That is correct.
And that's what I'm saying. So maybe the question needs to be sent again. So we'll just send part 2 of the question that she didn't answer. Yeah, thank you.
So, okay, so that's good discussion. Jerry, go ahead.
The train came from the UK. That's, they have it there. It's a all different area.
So anyway, so there is, like I say, there's some good information still coming out. I think this is a good motion to let them know where we stand, and the information thing is the biggest problem everyone's having. We're not alone. And as far as other townships, I know Norwood has asked for a meeting there. And from what I heard from Joel, that's what they have been working on, is trying to get one. I was looking between here and Marmora. Somebody else is looking between here and Norwood. So probably with the riding of the MP, it might be good to Norwood or here, wherever it is, somewhere closer to here, and hear local responses. So Councillor Doherty, go ahead, and then we'll call a question.
Well, I know that our members knew, but if this is not one of the more important things that's happening in Peterborough riding at the moment, and we're getting a paste comment back, the standard issue. I'm not making criticism. I'm just saying is let's sit down, at least take the notes. She may not be able to change it, but she sure can get the message directly to Ottawa without the high-speed train. She can just use Highway 7. So,
all right. So we have a motion on the floor. We have a mover and a seconder. All in favor of the motion, and that's carried. So we'll get that out and stay tuned. So, the next item on here is with regards to Conservation Authority and the changes that are happening around the regional. And if you read the letter, big changes coming. I was at a meeting online last week, and that's why I wanted this on here, just to make sure everybody at council understands big changes. Whether you like them or not, we've all expressed again to the province that we don't, like I've said it several times to Dave and others, but this here seems to be a way they're going. Now they've gone to 9 authorities from 7. Changed a little bit in our eastern riding, but that being said, it's going to be changing they're allowing counties into conservation authorities now, which they never were before. And what'll happen here is the lower tiers won't be involved in the conservation authority. It'll be moved to the upper tier. You know, it's there's a lot of changes here. Like this is, we have like the Crow Valley is a big conservation authority. It may not be the richest, but it's big and covers a huge area. And now it's going to be going like it's going east and west of us pretty far. But this is the province's way, and we're the creature of the province, and we can express our dislike, but in the end, they're calling the shot, and this is the direction they're going. So stay tuned. I just wanted the letter in the package today to make sure you've all got a chance to read it. And it was, I know it's been out in the news and everything too, but yeah, it's big changes, and they want this to happen by the next this election in October, that the responsibilities change by October 26th. So, so things change, but stay tuned. Go ahead.
Through you, Mr. It said in the letter, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the new funding procedure will be based on assessment. So is that going to be the same type of assessment that they use in Peterborough County? So like reflective, because is it like how is it going to be? How's the pricing going to work? They want us to have a transition by the end of the year. We'll also be doing, or somebody will be doing budgets by then. So yeah, is there anything back on that side of it, which is really a big concern to us at the price we're paying? So.
And that's the stuff that we got to keep an eye on, because I cannot believe, like, you know, we pay almost $400,000. I can't see the county absorbing that. So whether they either pay, if they're going to invoice us a bill, because this has taken all of the conservation authorities in. So like Cavan-Monaghan, some of them have 2 or 3 conservation authorities within their township. It's going to be, it's a big thing here. And sometimes I was always taught to, you know, not to like to kind of stay in your lane, or, you know, but this year they seem to be jumping out and wanting into everything. So I think there's going to be a lot of conversation around this on how it just came out last week. So there's going to be a lot of talk about what came out. So it's pretty fresh.
I think they're trying to get their hands around just kind of what you alluded to there. Cavan-Monaghan has 3. Mm-hmm. The fact that it has 3 of its own is a problem, right? Mm-hmm. There's quite too many of them.
Yeah. Now
the problem is if we amalgamate, we still need that environmental protection that we're getting with what we have, right? But in terms of where they're going, in terms of maybe blocking this together on a cost thing, it could benefit, like I said, as long as they maintain their environmental standards, maybe this is something in the long run that could benefit, right? Because if we can get 1 to do it instead of having 7 or 8, because the 7 or 8 cost a lot more than the 1. But it's what we get out of it in terms of, you know what I mean? Like, especially our community, the protection of our lakes, you know, forests and whatnot. That's the concern, is that we maintain that same level with just 1 authority. So
yeah.
Well, will certainly help the dynasty in Peterborough County, though. They're building another department there now. We and add a few more people to it.
So okay, so motion just to receive that. Deputy Mayor Webb and
Mayor Martin, is there an opportunity for public comment in these discussions?
No, not in this part, Craig.
Okay.
You can ask to be on the next agenda there.
I'll just call you. The CA is very important to us.
Yeah, and we realize that. Okay. All right then. So we'll we have a motion to receive that report, and that was moved and seconded. Moved by Bev, second by Art. All in favor, and that's carried. Okay, and the next item on here is with regards to Smith Drive, and Bob and I met with Travis Doak, who's the CEO for Peterborough Housing, to talk about our Smith Drive property that never ended up getting the 2 quads on it. And it was a good meeting, pretty positive. They're really interested in trying to do something with us. They would love to partner with us on something. But there's the money part of it's going to be the big thing. And that's, once again, he told us that they're their own entity. They're not a part of the city and they're not a part of the county. They're a board that works within the two. He said that there's a lot of opportunity if we were to partner on something, whether it's managing the building, we would still own it. If there's grants and things like that that they can get that we can't, and there might be an opportunity to partner. They could build it and manage it. We could own it. That was kind of basically. There's a lot of other things said, but when I came away from that meeting, I was hoping that we need a medical center. We've been talking about it and talking about it. That property would be ideal, and just to carry the conversation on rather than just me talking to them, I would like to see us set up something like with either the deputy mayor and myself and one councillor to sit down with Peterborough Housing and the group and look at some options for that property, see if there's something that we can do that's feasible to build a new medical center. We know, even for us, the part about it is the cost. The other part of it, depending on what it looks like, is the managing of it. They manage the Smith Drive property right now, and I hear lots of good things over there. So I just wonder if, to carry this discussion on, I think it would be good if, like I say, either the deputy mayor or myself, and if a councillor would volunteer to put down with them, talk to them, listen, and then come back with a report for council on if you think it's a good idea. If it's not a good idea, we move on to plan B, but at least listen to them and see if there's an opportunity here to move ahead with a medical center of our own. So I'm just going to open up to council. Bev, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Martin, I'd like to move that. I think that's a good opportunity. There's at least try, and then if it doesn't work out, then at least we can move on and try and get something else. Yeah.
Okay, and
I'd be for that.
Deputy Mayor Webb, would you be interested in sitting on that, or so
that's,
somebody?
That's what council would.
If council wishes it, it's I just wish I'd like to see if another councillor would sit with them on it too. I'd like a councillor and Bev.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, all right then. Okay then, would you be willing? Jerry, go ahead.
I think it's wonderful that they want to partner, but I think we're going on 3.5 years now that I've heard the same record. Is they're going to, and they don't. I don't know how they could build the building, manage it, and we could own it. I'm confused about that part of it. And again, is the county portion of Peterborough Housing applying for the grant, or are they not? Because the city of Peterborough Housing applied for the $10 million grant on their own.
The city did for something, but this isn't the city. This is Peterborough Housing.
So Peterborough Housing for the county is a separate entity now?
They're separate from both the city and the county. That's what he told us while he was sitting here. Did you not, Bob?
They serve both. They're a separate entity.
Well, that's serving both and reporting to both. I'm confused on the separation of it. Who do these folks that made the presentation this morning, who do they work for? Peterborough Housing, the county division, or the Peterborough division?
So they're social services. I'm not sure if they're not Peterborough Housing. They're another thing off of that.
Two individuals that were here this morning work for the city of Peterborough.
Talked about units in Havelock that are under the word Peterborough Housing. All I'm asking for is that Peterborough Housing County, or is that Peterborough Housing Peterborough?
They work for both.
They do.
Those are for the city, but it's when it comes down to paying for it, it's paid for by the city and the county on that particular thing. When it comes down to Peterborough Housing, what happened years ago is if you remember that the borrowing for the city went up against the wall, but they were tied to the city so much, where now it's they broke away from that. The city is not going to use their debt load against Peterborough Housing. So they have to come up with the money themselves. And right now, this is what the discussion will be around is you got some good questions there, but those are the things that need to be spoke to.
Just in terms of what we're talking about, the time frame, are we getting on this immediately?
Yeah, like I
in the
would like
next-
to see in the next month.
couple of weeks, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good,
like
good.
come back with like he did talk about some other things as far as
If we could maybe just get that as part of the motion then to
Yeah.
get this up ASAP. Or if this is the way that council does decide to go.
yeah, and talk to them about that, like because they said there is opportunities for the county to do help with the financing part of it, the same as we could help fund. That's going to be the problem with Peterborough Housing. But the grants that they can access that we can't, that's what we need to hear about. So that's not for today. That's just to for the group that's going to be involved in it. If they can bring back a report, if there's anything good you hear, if there's not, we can scrap it and move on to plan B. But right now I would like to see us look at this and get some answers on if it's feasible.
So just a comment going forward, could we send our list of questions like Councilor Doherty has really good ones? Why don't we send them to Deborah, to her?
Yeah, like that's the thing. Once it's set up, send your questions to them and make sure your questions are answered there because we're not going to answer them here. So, okay. All right then. So do you have that wrote down the motion with it says?
So I have a mover, Councillor Flagler. Do we have a seconder? Sorry.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. So what I have written down, so.
Yeah, like.
That council hereby moves that 2 council members meet with Peterborough Housing Corporation, being Deputy Mayor Webb and Councillor Flagler, to explore a partnership for the development on Smith Drive that will include a medical center for HBM, and that this proceed immediately.
Yeah, hopefully, like that, hopefully we can come back and give a report to council definitely before the end of next month, like before by the second meeting, like it might be. Anyways, within give them quickly. So
report back to council.
I don't want this dragging into
that's right
June or July or anything like
By
that.
end of April.
It shouldn't take that long to
get
an answer.
Yeah. All right. So I have a mover and a seconder. All in favor of the motion.
Recorded, please.
Okay. Recorded vote.
Okay, recorded vote. Would you like it read again or are we okay to vote?
No.
Okay, recorded vote requested by Councillor Doherty. So we'll start with Councillor Clement.
For it.
Deputy Mayor Webb.
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Councillor Flagler.
Yes.
Councillor Doherty.
No.
And the motion is carried 4 votes to 1.
All right. Thank you. So we'll move on here now. Next, we don't have any written or oral notice of motion. So we'll move into other business. The first thing in other business here is it's up here. Councilor Doherty with regard to Smith Drive property.
Academic.
Okay. All right, then Art, economic development tourism strategy.
Yeah, just quickly, something we dealt with in budget, so I was just asking, we're gonna get things moving here on this, so we'll get a motion from council that we can ask the CEO to vote for a tender on the economic development / tourism strategy for 2026.
Okay, motion, you're moving that. Seconder for that. Kathy, any questions around it? All in favor, and that's carried. All right then, so the next on the agenda is bylaws, and we have 4 bylaws here. 3 of them were zoning bylaw amendments that was application 2026-20, 2026-21, and 2026-22. For a motion that we move those zoning bylaw amendments. Or can we move them all together? Okay, then there's the follow, then there's the merger of 2026-23. So if we can move them all together, that's what. Okay, moved by Councillor Clement. second, Councillor Flagler. All in favor? And that's carried. And the next item on here is closed session, so I'll look for a motion that we go into closed session held under section 239(2)B with regards to personal matters of an identifiable individual. Let's move by Bev, second by Hart. All in favor? That's carried. And then I'm going to look for a motion that we take a recess for 10 minutes. So yeah, so let's move by Kathy. All in favor? Oh, it's just. Oh, okay. So there's nothing to come out of closed session. So we'll move right on to, let me catch up here. We are in open session. Confirming bylaw for today's meeting. Motion moved by Councillor Clement, second by Councillor Flagler. All in favor? Carried. And motion to adjourn, Deputy Mayor West.
Doesn't let me second it.
And Councillor Doherty. All in favor?